1 week before the wedding, Warren, my fiancé, the man who swore we would build a future together, was bending his head to kiss Hannah, his executive assistant. Her long hair spilled across her shoulders in the afternoon light, 2 buttons of her blouse undone, revealing a crimson mark on her collarbone that screamed of teeth and lips. The coffee mug slipped from my hand and shattered, porcelain ringing like a bell against the floor. He jerked his gaze up, panic flashing for an instant before composure locked back into place. Ella strode toward me. Natalie, let me explain. I stepped back, my throat clogged so tight no sound would come. 8 years together, 3 living under the same roof. I'd thought our hearts beat in stereo, but in this moment I realized I'd never truly known him. Hannah tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, a ghost of a smile playing at her lips. Ms. Vance, we were only discussing work. You must have misunderstood. I clenched my fists, nails carving crescents into my palms. Misunderstood? That love bite, that tangle of breath and skin, did I imagine it? I spun and fled. Behind me Warren's snarl echoed down the corridor. Natalie, stop being hysterical. Hysterical? I laughed, hot tears streaming to my chin. The wedding invitations were sealed, the dress waited, but I had no idea this betrayal was only the first crack of a coming storm. We had met 8 years ago at Eastbrook University. He was 5 years older, heir apparent to Shaw Realty, all polished charm and easy eloquence. Back then he felt like sunlight pouring over the awkward corners of my youth. We survived long-distance years, survived my parents' distrust, survived every ultimatum. 3 years ago he proposed, 1 knee, a platinum ring, promises of a home. Mom and Dad thought his family background murky, but because he treated me well, they finally relented. I decorated the penthouse loft myself, Scandi furniture, monsteras lining the picture windows, every cushion chosen with care. I thought that was the definition of happy ever after. Now the coffee bleeding across the tiles looked exactly like my trust, splintered, dark, beyond rescue. I staggered down the stairs that day, mascara streaking like war paint. Traffic roared. I stood at the intersection, wind whipping color into my cheeks. My phone vibrated, Warren calling. Decline. Again. Again. Finally a voice note popped up. Natalie, quit the drama. Come back so we can talk like adults. Talk? About how he nuzzled Hannah while I planned our honeymoon? About how he ground my faith beneath his Italian loafers? I deleted his contact, blocked every portal, flagged a taxi, and headed to the penthouse loft. Neon signs blurred outside, Eastbrook swallowing my heart whole. Inside, red double happiness decals grinned from every wall. Crimson glare stung my eyes. Snip, snip, snip. I shredded every decal with scissors. Balloons exploded under my heels, loud applause for my naivete. The wedding gown hung like an apparition. I yanked it down, stuffed it among coffee grounds and takeout boxes, burying every fantasy with it. Dawn smeared the horizon by the time I finished. I collapsed on the sofa, knees to chest. The loft felt refrigerated. The phone rang. Eleanor. Natalie, everything ready? Why haven't you picked up? I inhaled until my ribs hurt. Mom, the wedding's off. Silence hummed across the ocean of cellular static. Don't be childish. 8 years, invites mailed, everyone notified. I'm not being childish. I refused to confess that Natalie had misjudged, misfired, misplaced her love. Let's just say I'm not suitable. I powered down the phone and curled on the couch, the cushions smelling of linen and deceit. Warren's voice still looped in my skull. Natalie, I'll hand you the world. Natalie, we'll have 2 kids, boys like me, girls like you. Natalie, I'll start my own company and we'll conquer it together. All lies. When I opened my eyes again my throat was cracked earth. I reached for water, my fingers trembled so hard the glass tipped and flooded the rug, rivers reflecting rivers inside me. 1 week later I straightened my spine and returned to Vance Capital. As CFO I couldn't let heartache hobble a $700 million fund. I stepped off the elevator, and came face to face with Hannah. She wore a bodycon dress the color of ripe peaches, stilettos like weapons of minor destruction. Morning, Ms. Vance. Her tone was morning show bright, as though nothing had ever happened. I offered a sub-zero glance and strode into my office. She followed, shutting the door, voice dropping to conspiratorial. You're still mad? Warren said it was only a fight, you'll crawl back by Friday. Warren, the name flayed skin from bone. Hannah, you're out of line, get out. She shrugged. Fair warning, Ms. Vance, he bets you'll beg. The lock clicked behind her. I realized I had snapped my fountain pen, blue ink bleeding like fresh bruises across my fingers. Beg? Natalie, beg? Never. That night I left the office after midnight. Wind off the Pacific tasted of salt and regret. His 24-hour convenience store glowed like a life raft. I pushed inside, craving nothing but water. At checkout, a young man in a white Oxford, sleeves rolled to the elbow, paid for a bottle of milk. He turned, we collided, almost. A shy, sunny smile lifted his mouth. Sorry, didn't mean to block you. The voice carried summer in it. I shook my head, reached for a bottle on the top shelf. Gravity won, the plastic tumbled. His hand closed over mine before impact, warm, calloused, sandpaper gentle. Careful. He released me, offering the rescued bottle. My pulse hiccuped. Eyes lowered, I muttered Jamie, the word escaping before I could think. While the cashier rang me up, he waited behind me, smelling of cedar after rain. I paid, fled, was halfway across the parking lot when he called out. I spun. He jogged over, my phone in hand. You left this. Breathless, a faint sheen on his forehead catching neon. Our fingers brushed, static. Jamie. I'm Natalie. I'm Leo. He smiled, a comet that didn't yet know its own trajectory. Inside my chest something quietly tilted. 48 hours later, blue cafe downstairs, Americano steam coiled between us. Leo wore dove gray cashmere, charcoal pencil flying over sketch paper. Sunlight etched the clean line of his jaw. I entered, his face brightened like a switch flipped. Rowan. Fate again? Rowan, my nickname at Vance Capital. I let it slide. I ordered an Americano, slid into the seat across. So what do you do, Leo? He scratched his nape, sheepish. Architecture, intern at Sterling's downtown office. He rotated the drawing, an aerodynamic cultural center, curves leaping like dolphins. I offered a few razor-sharp comments, he soaked them up, eyes shining. You? Rowan, queen of which empire? Vance Capital, CFO, he whistled. Heavy hitter. Then, conspiratorial whisper, reserve me a seat on your rocket, okay? I laughed, really laughed, for the first time in weeks. After that, accidental meetings multiplied, Blue, Quickmart, even the crosswalk. He talked fast, gesturing faster, pushing pastries and bubble tea on me like an eager kid. Rowan, try this almond croissant, still hot. Rowan, their peach soda is lethal, 2 straws, teamwork? His cheerfulness wasn't cloying, it was breathable, like spring air I hadn't realized I'd been denied. Yet at 3 a.m., Warren's ghost still slipped between the sheets and whispered old lies. But the horizon was shifting, and every sunrise sketch Leo slid across the table felt like a passport to somewhere new. His hickeys, his cold smirk, his quit being dramatic. I told myself, Natalie, you're not falling again. But my heart twitched, as if someone had brushed it with a feather, an itch that left me restless. 1 month later the firm hosted an industry mixer. I showed up as Vance Capital's delegate, black pencil skirt, hair twisted high, aura cranked to max. The instant I stepped into the ballroom I spotted Warren. He wore navy-tailored wool, Hannah tucked in the crook of his arm. Scarlet gown, lips stretched wide, she looked like a peony in full bloom. My chest tightened, my fingers crushed the clasp of my clutch. Warren noticed me, something conflicted flickering across his face, and headed over. Natalie, we need to talk. His voice was low, the kind that tried to swallow its own temper. I gave a thin laugh. Nothing to talk about. Emery cut in, tone laced with sugar and venom. Ms. Vance, Warren here said it was just a misunderstanding. Why keep stalking the grudge? I shot her a glare, ready to fire back, when a clear voice rose behind me. Rowan, who are your friends? Leo had appeared at my shoulder, angling his body the way a shield angles against arrow fire. He wore a dove-gray suit, clean-cut, but his eyes held a quiet edge. A small warmth flickered inside me. Leo, a friend of mine. Warren's expression flattened, he looked Leo up and down. Friend? Since when do you collect friends this young, Natalie? Leo smiled, polite steel in his tone. Rowan did me a favor, I'm grateful. Hannah snorted. Grateful? We're chasing a bigger payoff? Anger flared, I opened my mouth, but Leo's fingers brushed the back of my hand, steady and warm. Rowan, let's grab a seat over there. He guided me away, spine straight, a windbreak against their storm. My pulse hammered, my nose strangely stinging. Right then I understood, Leo's presence was sunlight pouring through every crack Warren had left in me. After the mixer Leo drove me home. Night lay thick, street lamps smeared butter yellow across the windshield, soft jazz lulled from the speakers. I rested my head against the passenger seat, eyes shut, but all I saw were Warren and Hannah in crimson and navy. "Rowan, you okay?" His question felt like a feather drifting across my skin. I opened my eyes and shook my head. "I'm fine." He asked nothing more, only handed me a bottle of water. The plastic was warm, the same temperature as his palm. I cracked the cap, swallowed, and the desert in my throat eased. "Leo, Jamie for stepping in back there." He grinned, eyes folding into crescents. "Rowan, someone as fierce as you needs rescuing?" His tease coaxed a laugh out of me, and the knot in my chest loosened. The car stopped under the porte-cochere of the penthouse loft. As I reached for the door, he spoke again. "Rowan, if it hurts, don't force yourself to pretend it doesn't." Serious earnestness, starlight in his irises. I hesitated, nodded, and climbed out, but sleep evaded me that night. Leo's smile warred with Warren's betrayal, two tides ripping my heart in opposite directions. Days slipped past like water through clenched fingers. Since the mixer, I'd blocked every channel that might carry Warren's name. Inside Vance Capital, Hannah still click-clacked her red-souled authority, tossing smug glances over the espresso machine. I ignored her, burying myself in quarterly models, trying to plaster the hollow space with numbers. Yet when the city quieted, Leo's grin crept in without knocking. The tiny canine gap in his teeth, cedar and vetiver on his sweater, his low "Rowan, don't force yourself." I lectured the reflection in my darkened monitor. "Natalie, you're 28, well past believing in fairy lights and band-aid kisses." But my heart rippled like a lake brushed by spring wind. That afternoon I stayed past 7, spreadsheets stacked like masonry across my desk. Sunset smeared coral over the glass wall when my phone vibrated. "Rowan, off work yet?" "I'm downstairs with contraband dinner." I stared at the text, thumb hovering, then typed back, "Be right down." He waited beneath the street lamp, paper sack in hand, white cable knit glowing under the sodium light. "Rowan, you must be starving." "My mom's braised pork, illegal level tasty." His eyes sparkled, galaxies stuffed into brown irises. When I took the bag, our knuckles grazed, the spark jumped straight to my ribcage. "Leo, why do you keep materializing with food?" I kept it playful, a smokescreen for the flutter inside. He scratched the back of his head, dimples showing. "Rowan gave me a career lifeline, gotta repay the debt, right?" Debt. Even a toddler could poke holes in that excuse. I didn't. I rode the elevator back up, cheeks warm under office fluorescents. The fragrance of soy and star anise filled my cubicle, the meat dissolved on my tongue like childhood. Mid-bite my throat burned with sudden nostalgia. When had I last tasted home-cooked anything? With Warren it had been Michelin tasting menus, foam and gel, beautiful, and utterly cold. I snapped a photo, sent it to Leo. "Tell your mom she's a sorceress." His reply popped up instantly. "Casey, next shipment incoming." His avatar, cartoon beagle tongue lolling, stared at me, goofy and comforting. The next second Warren's ghost hissed in my ear, "Natalie, don't be dramatic. Natalie, love is poison, one more sip and you're done." Morgan, my mother's name, lit the screen. "Natalie, your sister lands tomorrow. Dinner at home, and bring Warren." My grip tightened until the phone case creaked. "Mom, Warren and I are finished." Silence pulsed through the speaker. "Don't frighten me, child. 8 years, invitation sent, how can you unwind that?" "I'm not joking." I inhaled slowly. "He broke the deal, I won't settle." She exhaled a long sigh. "Fine. Come tomorrow. We will discuss. Dissect how I'd been played, how trust had shattered loud enough to deafen me." Wind whipped the balcony as I stood outside, moon locked behind soot-gray clouds, same shade as my mood. Next evening I drove to my parents' estate. Nicole met me in the foyer, tackling me in a lavender-scented hug. "Natalie, I've missed your face." 3 years my senior, she freelanced illustration out of Lisbon, free as a gull that refused cages. I laughed into her shoulder. "If you stayed away any longer, Mom would outsource the nagging to me." Eleanor appeared in the archway, dish towel pointed like a scepter. "Natalie, gossiping about your mother again?" Around the mahogany table the air thickened. Richard set down his chopsticks with the gentle finality of a judge's gavel. "Explain the Warren situation." "You two were solid, what fractured?" I chased grains of rice with my spoon, throat sand dry. "He cheated." The words dropped, small and sharp. Eleanor's ivory chopsticks clattered onto porcelain. Nicole's eyes narrowed. "Cheated? That parasite had the guts?" I nodded, adding nothing, but Eleanor wasn't finished. Menstray, Natalie. 8 years is an empire to build and a minute to raise. Think carefully. Heat surged up my sternum. Mom, betrayal is binary. I can't unsee it. My father coughed a pacifying cough. Eat while it's hot. Natalie is capable of measured choices. I knew the verdict hadn't been dismissed, only recessed. After dessert, Nicole dragged me upstairs, slammed the door, and whirled around. Spill the entire sewer. What exactly did Warren do? I told her, words bitter on my tongue. When I finished, she punched the mattress. Trash. Good thing you took out the garbage. She softened, tucking a strand of hair behind my ear. But what's your next play? Mom will lobby hard. I flopped against the headboard, knuckles kneading my temples. I'm swamped at work. Romance can stay dead for all I care. Nicole rolled her eyes. 28, not 80. Don't exile yourself to a nunnery. She rummaged in her suitcase, producing a photograph snapped years ago. College me, white button down, grin blazing like a field of sunflowers. Look at that girl, she believed the world was wide. Where'd she go? I studied the image until tears pricked. Yes, when had I misplaced that Natalie who laughed without scanning the room first? A week later, Vance Capital landed a new JV partner, a boutique architecture atelier downtown. I was leading the team to the other firm for a meeting. I pushed open the conference room door and froze. Leo sat on one side of the long table, pen in hand, head bent over his notes. He looked up, his eyes lit, and the corners of his mouth curved in that familiar arc. Rowan, you're here too? I nodded, pushed down the odd flutter in my chest, and took the chair at the head. The meeting began. Leo, representing Sterling, walked us through their design. His voice was steady, crystal clear, laced with the occasional joke that drew chuckles from the room. Watching him, I felt dislocated. The boy who once handed me a bottle of water in the Quickmart suddenly looked all grown up. When it ended, he caught up with me, a coffee in hand. Rowan, for you, still hot. The coffee mug was warm against my palm, his smile warmer, steadying. Leo, what are you doing here? I took the cup, keeping my tone light. He scratched his head. Told you, I'm interning at Sterling. I fought to get on this job so I could learn from you. Learn from me? The words sped my heartbeat again. I sipped to hide my smile. All right, work hard, don't make me look bad. He snapped a salute. Yes ma'am, Ms. Vance. I laughed, and some of the gloom in my chest lifted. The partnership meant we saw each other constantly. Leo was a pocket-sized sun, appearing with light whenever I was drained. He'd bring me a sandwich after meetings, slip a strawberry candy onto my desk during overtime. One evening, seeing me rub my neck, he dragged me downstairs for a walk the minute we wrapped. Rowan, you'll get cervical spine issues if you sit that long. Half coaxing, half pulling, he won, I followed. Plane tree leaves carpeted the small park outside the building, crunching beneath our feet. He strolled beside me, his shadow stretched long by the street lamps. Rowan, what do you do to unwind? Unwind? I blanked, the concept felt antique. Work, sleep, occasional jog. He frowned theatrically. That's tragic. He produced a candy, peeled it, and popped it into my mouth. Sweet? Strawberry, sweet as a spring breeze. I shot him a glare but couldn't stop my smile. Why do you always carry candy? His eyes curved into crescents. Because Rowan needs sweetening. My heart pounded, cheeks burning. Natalie, don't be stupid, he's 24, 4 years younger. Yet the sugar melted on my tongue, addictive. Mid-project, the firm booked a weekend retreat at a hot spring lodge in the hills. I tried to beg off, but the team's excitement overruled me. The Valley Lodge breathed pine. At dusk they fired up late-night barbecue on the lawn, laughter ricocheting through the air. I sat with a juice, watching flames jump, when Leo arrived bearing skewers. Rowan, try my chicken wing. Golden, human-dusted, fragrant, I bit, surprisingly perfect. Not bad, told you. Casey, I'll grill for you every day, colleagues hooted. Leo, shameless favoritism. My face flamed, I focused on the wing. Leo only grinned. Rowan's my boss, gotta keep her happy, right? Laughter erupted like summer fireworks. I met his eyes, the look said, Rowan, I mean it. When the coals dimmed they started truth or dare. I tried to slip away, but Joe blocked me. Ms. Vance, 1 round. I surrendered. Draw the joker, answer or act. I chose truth. Joe's grin turned wicked. Ms. Vance, got a crush on anyone right now? The question splashed into my heart like a stone. Across the circle Leo held a cup, gaze steady on me. No, I heard myself say. More teasing, surely someone worthy of my secret admiration. I smiled thinly and drank my juice. Leo's eyes dimmed, he studied his cards, knuckles whitening. Something clenched inside me. Natalie, what are you afraid of? Next round, Leo drew the joker. Joe pounced. Dare, carry Ms. Vance around the lawn. I protested. Leo stood, peeled off his jacket, black sweater clinging to lean frame. Rowan, game? Challenge accepted. Let's go. He scooped me up, arms solid, chest warm, cedar scent swirling. I locked my arms around his neck, his skin burned. Easy, I muttered, pulse racing. His laugh brushed my ear. Hold tight. He ran, wind whistled, firelight strobed, cheers crashed like distant surf. Halfway he slowed, looking down. You're blushing. Sunburn, I lied. He smiled like a cat that stole the cream. Back home, Leo filled my head, his laugh, his arms, hold tight. I lay staring at the ceiling, adrift. A message lit the screen. Rowan, did you have fun? I hesitated, typed and killed the lights. That night I dreamed we stood on a beach at sunset. He said, Rowan, I like you. I woke with a start, heart hammering. Natalie, you've lost it, he's 24. The beach sun lingered behind my eyelids. Phone still glowing, next time I'll show you something better. I silenced it and buried myself in work, useless, the sweetness refused to dissolve. On site Leo kept coming, blueprints, smile, Americano after every meeting. He'd haul me downstairs for scallion pancakes. Rowan, double egg, legendary. Sauce on his lip, eyes sparkling. I handed a napkin. Eat like a civilized human or you'll die alone. He wiped, gaze suddenly earnest. Rowan, I only need you to want me. My heart skipped. I bit into my pancake, pretending deafness, but the ripples spread. Fear gripped me. This warmth could erase the armor Warren's betrayal had welded on. Morgan, Mom called, imperial tone. Natalie, tomorrow noon, Xianyun Hotel. I've arranged a lunch, Sam, Sterling's youngest, impeccable pedigree. I almost dropped my mug. I told you, I'm off relationships. Off? You're 28. Meet him, what's the harm? I clutched the phone. Mom, I already like someone. The words shocked even me. Someone I like? Leo's silhouette flickered through my mind, his smile, his arms, the way he had said, Rowan, you only need to want me. My mother fell silent for a moment, then her voice softened. Natalie, bring him home and let me see him, alright? I swallowed the sour lump in my throat. We'll see. I hung up and sank back against the sofa, eyes shut. Leo, 24, architecture intern. Me, 28, CFO. We were two parallel lines that had happened to cross, doomed to shoot off in opposite directions. So why did every thought of him stab my heart like a needle? The next day I still went to the Xinyan Hotel, not for the blind date, just to tell my mother face to face. The ballroom blazed with lights, guests glittering in silk and diamonds. I wore a white silk blouse tucked into high-waisted black satin, hair loose over my shoulders, chill radiating from every pore. The instant I stepped in, I ran straight into Warren. He was in charcoal gray, Hannah glued to his side. She glowed in emerald, smile flaring like a peacock fanning his tail. Natalie, you're here too? Warren's eyes were storm-dark as he walked toward me. I took a step back and laughed coldly. Nothing to do with you. Emery cut in, voice light and taunting. Ms. Vance, I heard you came for a blind date? Got over Warren so quickly? I opened my mouth to retort when a familiar voice drifted in. Rowan, who are these people? Leo had appeared at my side without my noticing, half turned to shield me. Warmth flashed through my chest. Leo, a friend of mine. Warren's face darkened as he looked Leo up and down. Natalie, when did you start collecting such young friends? Leo smiled, neither servile nor arrogant. Rowan helped me, I'm grateful. Hannah snickered. Grateful? Or aiming higher? My temper surged, but Leo grazed the back of my hand with his fingers, warm, steady. Rowan, let's go over there. He guided me away, spine straight as a windbreak. My pulse sprinted, my nose stung. Leo, why do you always show up when I'm at my messiest? On stage, the Sterling patriarch began praising his youngest son, who wasn't even present. Whispers rippled through the crowd. I didn't care. I stood in a corner sipping juice, mind blank. Leo reappeared with a slice of cake. Rowan, eat something sweet, it helps. I took it and asked quietly, what are you doing here? He scratched his head, cheeks dimpling. I intern here, Just came to see the fuss. To see the fuss? The excuse was so thin I almost laughed. I tasted the frosting, cloying, but it couldn't fill the hollow inside. Leo, do you think love is always fake? The question slipped out, a murmur to myself. He blinked, set down the plate, and looked straight at me. Rowan, love isn't fake, people just get it wrong. His voice was low, night wind against skin. My heart clenched. I met his gaze, clear as a spring, mirroring my ragged self. Rowan, if someone hurts you, he's not worth it. He paused, softer. You deserve better. My nose burned, I dropped my eyes. Stop it, I'm fine. Yet the words were a spark, lighting something inside I couldn't name. After the banquet my mother cornered me. Natalie, Sterling's youngest, didn't come, but I booked you for next week. Don't argue, all right? I drew a slow breath. Mom, I already like someone. Her brows snapped together. Who? That Leo kid? I froze, she'd guessed. Natalie, he's 24, no house, no car, what future is that? Her tone sliced like a blade. Mom, I know what I'm doing. I walked away, legs heavy as lead. Home, I collapsed on the couch, Leo's image everywhere, his grin, his warmth, his quiet, you deserve better. But my mother's verdict was ice water. Natalie, you're unworthy of something this clean. A few days later the project wrapped. Leo waited until the final meeting to hand me a gift, a hand-drawn sketchbook. On the cover he had painted me, white shirt, standing under a plane tree, smiling like spring. Inside, one line. Rowan, you're the best, don't let anyone steal your smile. Bold strokes, warm and steady, just like him. My throat tightened. Leo, this is incredible. I tried for breezy, my heartbeat betrayed me. He grinned, eyes crescent moons. Casey, I'll draw you more. Afterward he walked me to the lobby. Night wind whipped cool and sharp, sobering me. Rowan, the project's over, back to the firm for me. Calm words, but his eyes lingered. My chest pinched. We'll still see each other, right? He blinked, then beamed like a kid handed candy. Whenever Rowan calls, I'll come. I nodded and watched him leave, silhouette tall as a pine. Yet something inside slipped quietly away. That night I couldn't sleep. Leo's smile, the sketchbook, his voice looping, you deserve better. I opened WhatsApp, hovered over his chat, finally typed, Leo, Jamie. He replied instantly, Rowan, no need for thanks, find me anytime. I stared until the screen blurred. Natalie, what are you afraid of? That he's too young, that he'll change, that you're not enough? Still, something yanked at my heart until I couldn't breathe. A week later the dreaded blind date arrived. Same hotel, private dining room, just me and Sterling's youngest, Jordan, 27, polished, courteous. Alex, your mother says you're brilliant in finance. His smile was spring breeze gentle. I answered politely, Jordan flatters me. But my mind drifted the entire meal. His smile lacked Leo's warmth, his words lacked Leo's truth. And I knew, the heart I'd guarded was already crowded by a 24-year-old boy who carried charcoal and sunrise in his pockets. When dinner ended he walked me out. Alex, I admire you, may we keep in touch? Earnest tone, eyes missing something vital. I shook my head, distant smile. Jamie, Jordan, but my heart's already taken. He nodded and left. I stood under the night breeze, cheeks cold. Natalie, you finally admitted it, you love Leo. But when I turned, a figure under the street lamp froze me. Leo, clutching a bouquet of sunflowers, eyes unreadable. Rowan, you're on a blind date? Voice husky, restrained. I hurried to explain. No, only to turn him down. He said nothing, gaze dark as midnight surf. Rowan, you said you like someone? Soft, almost carried off by wind. My heart hammered. Yes. The word left my lips steady, certain. His eyes dimmed, a wry smile tugged. Then he must be amazing. Tears pricked. I stepped forward, scooped a sunflower from the pavement, looked up. Leo, it's you. He froze, disbelieving. The flower slipped, scattering gold across concrete. Rowan, say it again. Voice trembling, child afraid the candy wasn't real. I met his gaze. Leo, I like you. His eyes ignited like fireworks over water. He held me against him so hard I felt his heartbeat through my ribs. Rowan, I've waited forever to hear that. Muffled against my shoulder, half laughter, half sob. I wrapped my arms around his waist, tears scalding. In that embrace I dropped every shield and let the late-arriving love in. But happiness is froth, beautiful, fragile. Next morning my mother called. Natalie, you refused Jordan for that Leo? I inhaled. Mom, I love him. Love? She laughed coldly. He's 24, no house, no car, what future can he give you? Mom, I don't want his money, I just want to be happy. Happy? My mother's voice shot up. Natalie, you're 28, not some little girl. Your backgrounds are light years apart, he's beneath you. I crushed the phone against my ear, my chest feeling flayed open. Mom, my life is my choice. The call ended. I collapsed on the couch, tears streaming without permission. Leo's smile, Leo's warmth, those were a shaft of light flooding my heart. But my mother's words were a blade, slicing until I bled. Days later, Leo asked me to the beach. He said he wanted to show me the sunset. The air tasted of salt, waves beating the rocks. He wore a white shirt, sleeves rolled to the elbow, feet bare on the sand. Rowan, like it here? He passed me a bottle of soda. I took it and nodded. Love it. He tugged me down, the grains were warm, kissing my skin the way his palms did. Rowan, there's something I need to tell you. His tone was grave, his eyes as calm and fathomless as the sea. My pulse sprinted. Say it. He pulled a small sketchbook album from his pocket and offered it. Open it. I flipped the pages, every photo was of me. Me in a boardroom, me strolling the park, me tearing into late-night barbecue during a company retreat. Each picture carried his handwriting. Rowan's laugh is sunshine. Rowan's frown is still adorable. Rowan, I love you, loved you the first second I saw you. My throat burned, tears splattered the album. Leo, why are you so foolish? I lifted my gaze, voice cracking. He grinned, eyes star-bright. Rowan, I'm not foolish. Meeting you is the luckiest thing that's ever happened to me. He leaned in and brushed my forehead with his lips, warm as summer wind, soft yet steady. I shut my eyes, heart hammering. In that instant I forgot age, forgot lineage, forgot every doubt. I only knew I loved him, but reality stabbed the dream to ribbons. Next morning, Mom stormed in with Dad. Natalie, you intend to stay with that Leo? Dad frowned. Natalie, your mother's right. He comes from nothing, marriage will be hardship. I drew a slow breath. Dad, Mom, I love him. Love? Mom sneered. Love doesn't pay bills. You're a businesswoman, optimize your gains. Heat flooded my eyes, yet my voice held. Mom, I'm not a machine, I have a heart. She slammed the table. Stand by him and you're no daughter of mine. Don't force me, Mom. I sobbed, tears streaking down. Dad exhaled, let her out. Natalie, think it over. The moment the door clicked shut I sank to the floor, knees to chest, crying like a lost child. Leo's smile, that album, still a beacon inside me. Yet my parents' pressure weighed like a mountain. That night he came. He stood at the threshold, late-night barbecue in hand, smiling as always. Rowan, hungry? Eat something hot. I looked at him, my eyes blurred. Leo, are we wrong for each other? His grin froze, the paper bag almost slipping. Rowan, what are you saying? His voice was hoarse, restrained. I bit my lip, tears falling. Mom forbids it. She claims you're not good enough. He froze, gaze as dark as night sea. Rowan, do you believe I'm not good enough? His whisper cut like a blade. I shook my head. I'm just terrified we'll crash. He stepped forward, hugging me so hard I felt my bones bend. Rowan, only thing I fear is losing you. His words were muffled against my shoulder, trembling. I clutched his waist, soaking his shirt. Leo, I'm so scared. He kissed my hair. Rowan, I'm here, don't be afraid. At that moment his warmth flooded every corner of my heart. Night was thick, street lights dim. He drove, soft jazz drifted from the speakers. I reclined in the passenger seat, eyes closed, his silhouette circling my mind. Rowan, you okay? His murmur feathered across my skin. I opened my eyes, shook my head. I'm fine. He asked nothing more, only passed me a bottle of water. It was warm, like his hand. I sipped, the dryness ebbed. Leo, Jamie, you've stayed beside me all along. He chuckled, eyes crescented. Rowan, someone as fierce as you needs company? His tease coaxed a laugh from me, the fog in my chest lifted. The car stopped at my building. As I stepped out he called softly. Rowan, there's something I want to say. His gaze pinned me, steady as Polaris. My heart raced. Tell me, he breathed in, voice low. Rowan, I'm the youngest son of Sterling. I blinked, certain I'd misheard. What? He gave a rueful smile, ruffling his hair. My mother was Sterling's secretary. I'm the illegitimate child. Sterling wants me acknowledged, but I refused. He paused, eyes earnest. Rowan, I don't covet your fortune or your status. I only want to be with you. Tears scalded my cheeks. Leo, why didn't you tell me sooner? He smiled, eyes shining. I was afraid you'd think I was climbing. I threw myself into his arms, soaking his shirt anew. Leo, I love you. He stiffened, then squeezed me so tight the world vanished. Rowan, I love you too. His voice trembled against my neck. In that instant I shed every reservation, age, pedigree, everything. I only knew I loved him. Next day I took Leo home. Mom's face darkened the moment she saw him. Natalie, this is the man you claim to love? I inhaled, fingers laced through his. Mom, this is Leo. I love him. Leo stood tall. Mrs. Vance, I will treasure Natalie. Mom scoffed. Treasure? Your worlds are galaxies apart. How? Before I could answer, Leo spoke. Mrs. Vance, I'm Sterling's son. Money and ability, I have both. All I want is Natalie's happiness. Mom froze, stunned. Dad raised an eyebrow. You're also Sterling's child? Riley calmly said, yes, but I hope you'll accept me for who I am, not my surname. Mom fell silent, eyes unreadable. Dad sighed. Natalie, are you certain? I nodded, voice steel. Dad, I've never been surer. Mom glanced at me and finally yielded. Fine. Your life, your call. Tears welled. I squeezed Leo's hand, his warmth steady. A month later we stood on the shore aisle. Sunset draped the beach in gold lace. I wore a white wedding gown, arm tucked through his, grinning like a child. He wore a white tux, gaze gentle as starlight on water. I, Leo, choose to love Natalie all my days. Simple words, yet they carved themselves into my soul. I choked back tears. So do I. Applause crashed like surf, but I saw only him. At last, I was home. After the ceremony we flew to Spain for our honeymoon. On the sand he produced a sketchbook album. Rowan, look. I turned pages, snapshots of me from Eastbrook University sweatshirt to Vance Capital Power suit. Every margin bore his ink. Rowan, you are my light. I buried my face in his chest. Leo, still so foolish? He kissed my forehead. Only for you. Sunset bled into the sea, waves licking the rocks. Nestled against him, my heart was full. Henceforth, dawn and dusk, years and seasons, we'll walk together until daylight fades. Thanks for listening. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this tale? If it touched you, like and share. Tell us your thoughts below, and subscribe for more stories. See you next time.